So I've been the ambassador of Hungary at UNESCO since 2009, and I was elected president of the General Conference in 2011. And in the past 2 years, of course, besides running the 36th session of the General Conference and opening the 37th session, which we just finished recently, I had a chance to travel the world and really to see in practice what culture diplomacy, science diplomacy, sports diplomacy, so the so-called soft powers, can do to the world. And of course, don't forget, UNESCO was set up after the Second World War really to build international relations in the fields of culture, education, sciences, and communication. But it's not l'art pour l'art international relations. Our main objective is, of course, that through these international relations, we should give a chance to better understanding each other, and also to build peace and security in the world. And I really think that the biggest problem today is the lack of knowledge. So everything starts with education. Right. Because if we know, first of all, who we are, what is our background, we know our language, we know our history, and so on. So it's like being in a good family. Then you are growing up with love, and then you are not afraid giving love because you were given a lot of love. So if you know through a good education who you are, what is your culture identity, then you are not afraid stepping out of this microcosm and starting to be interested in other cultures, in other people. And I think this is number one for everybody, to have an education system through which they base the foundation of a person, but also open the windows towards the other people. And I don't like to hear that, you know, we are all similar and so on. We are not. I mean, that's the beauty of the world, of the human race, that we are all different. The point is that we don't have to be afraid of the differences. Right. What we have to learn is that, as I say, that the differences I don't take as sources of burden, but as a real source of inspiration. And if we don't look at the world with a fear, then we can really build this world together in a better manner. I think actually culture diplomacy can do the most in areas and in countries where you really see difficulties. Because of course, you know, in a world or in a country or in an area of the world where everything is nice and going well and so on, it is not so complicated to build the bridges for understanding. So in radicalism, in the case of not understanding, in the case of aggressive approaches towards so-called solutions, the best way really, as I said before, to start with education. UNESCO is running a lot of programs in the world, in the developing world, in the Arab region as well, which are set up in order to give, first of all, hope for people really to be able to learn, to study, and sort of to be a more conscious citizen of their own country and of the region and of the world. So everything starts really with the lack of knowledge and the lack of understanding. For that you need understanding. And of course, I truly believe that we can't speak about intercultural dialogue without taking into consideration the importance of interfaith and interreligious dialogue. If we look at the world today, we see all this extremism, this political extremism, you know, which would use a faith or a religion And for that, you cannot take into account what religions really mean in intercultural dialogue. There are many places in the world through which you can understand the culture of the country only if you are aware of the religion as well. And I think the interfaith dialogue, the interreligious dialogue are very important topics of intercultural dialogue. I've been working in these issues and in these corridors very strongly as the president of the General Conference, and if you are open towards another religion, it doesn't mean that you have to convert into this religion, but you have to understand what are the most important points and topics of the religion, what you are talking about. So I took part in many, let's say, Buddhist world meetings to which they invited many representatives of many religions. But if I just think about my own religion, I'm a Roman Catholic, mainly Hungarians are Roman Catholics, so it's not a big deal because that's the majority, of course. But I very much appreciated the time when John Paul II, the Polish Pope, of course, who was very, very important for us Eastern Europeans, opened up, for example, our religion to the world and started to build bridges really with other religions. So the religious leaders themselves have to have a dialogue, and the political leaders themselves have to have a dialogue. It's not enough to talk about our own interests, let it be our culture, our country, or our religion, because we just have to be aware of the fact that we are so much interconnected today that we can't do anything which wouldn't influence another person or another culture or another country. And just as whatever we do is a kind of result of other people's doing. So this interconnectedness, of course, is very much of an imperative to understand, because through the media, through the international electronic togetherness, you cannot just forget about things happening in the world, because you are part of everything what is going on. We live in another world today as we used to live, let's say, in 20 years or 25 years, so you cannot take into consideration that whatever is happening, the result will come through and somehow will change our way of thinking as well. And UNESCO is doing through competence building, through education, through, of course, the international conventions, what many countries have signed, programs in order to fight extremism and in order to build real bridges between the minds of the people. And this is really what matters. It is, of course, a beautiful idea, and I always say that you have to be a dreamer, and you have to be, of course, an optimist, but you have to be an activist as well. So yes, we have to have our dreams. I mean, if we don't believe that, there will be a point when all the different religions will be able to live in a harmony and a better understanding. And if we don't believe that all the other cultures and peoples will be able to live in a secure world, then of course we shouldn't work. I mean, just one of my most profound experiences in my life was, when I went to Senegal, and I stood at the point from where for 300 years the so-called Western powers took the black people, and then they really used the knowledge, and they used the talent, and they used the power of the brain or of their physical power, everything, to build their own wealth and to build their own countries. So you cannot use other people. Yeah. That kind of what I call planetary consciousness is what we can reach only through education. Yes. Thank you very much. And of course, Hungary and Turkey and Turkey have got a lot of links. Yes. And in our culture, we have a lot of similarities. And of course, in our past, we have learned a lot from each other. And of course, Turkey and Hungary in culture dialogue have done a lot together. And in UNESCO, Turkey is a very important player in the international conventions and in the major programs. So I'm very happy to see the importance in the Turkish government as well, because as you know, UNESCO is an intergovernmental organization, and it depends on the government to decide how strongly they would like to be involved in the work of UNESCO. And Turkey plays a very important and influential role in our work.
Thank you very much.
I mean, I have to tell you that our Prime Minister just visited your country, and just yesterday we heard the news that we don't need visas to go to Turkey, so probably it will be easier for me to go there.